Hey everybody, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make a Jay Fay type of bass. He's a Moombahton, Moombacore producer. He's probably maybe not like the most popular producer out there, but I have to say definitely one of my favorites. Really noticeable like signature sounds and really just gritty bass. Works really well. But yeah, before I actually show you an example or my patch of his type of sound, I just wanted to say special thanks to Bombs and Bottles Music, who is this other guy who actually makes Reason tutorials. This is actually somewhat taken from his Kill the Noise Respace tutorial that I watched maybe about like a month ago. And I definitely check his stuff out. I'll probably post a link in the description box. He's really knowledgeable at what he's doing, and he's a really interesting guy. His videos are pretty out there sometimes with the shit that he says. But anyway, let me just give you a demonstration of exactly what we'll be working on with today. Yeah, so I mean, the whole like spectrum of like different octaves, you can get different types of sounds from the bass, which is pretty nice, actually. It's a little more confusing to make than other stuff, but it's not impossible. And yeah, if you like what you hear, stick around because we're about to get started. So start off with a combinator, and you want to open up a Thor synth, and let's see here, change the range to 3, set the polyphony to 1, really makes it, you know, monophonic, but set the release polyphony to 3. I just keep it like this for different techniques which you can use in songwriting. Obviously if it has 1 for polyphony, it's going to be a monophonic sound, so, but that's just how I do stuff in case I want to switch it up. Put the portamento on, and you can just leave it at 40. But anyway, instead of an analog synth, we're going to use a wavetable synth, and we're going to set this to a PPG 17 mix harm. I don't know too much about wavetable synths, but they are pretty powerful stuff, and I've just been messing around with them a lot, and you can get a lot of cool sounds out of it. So, set the position to 117, and you can turn the crossfade off. All this can stay the same. With oscillator 3, open up a sine wave and bring it down like an octave. Make sure you turn oscillator 3 on. Oscillator 1 will always be on. That's just how Thor kind of like sets itself up. And we're going to change the mix to 34, so we get more sound out of the first oscillator as opposed to the lower bass. So let's just see how that sounds right now. Wow, that sounds like crap. Nothing. But we're not done yet. So change this to a state variable filter and put the drive up to 93. 92 is good. Set the frequency to 333 hertz. Let's see. Yeah, you can hit down the shift key, and it helps you, you know, kind of like fine tune any like knobs that you're turning, or volume faders, or any type of fader. Really, like, just a little helpful tip. Put the envelope to 0. Set the velocity to 0, and instead of a low pass filter, you're going to make this a band pass filter. Alright, so now we're going to go to filter 2, and we're going to make this a comb filter. Before, though, we even start working on that, you got to make sure to turn oscillator 1 on. Don't turn 3 on, just 1. So put the drive up to 63. Oh, well, there you go. 64 is fine. Put the frequency to 3.28 kilohertz. That's good. And the resonance to 16 there. Also, you want to change this, hit the mode button once. So instead of a comb plus, it's going to be a comb minus. And you're going to want to put the envelope and the velocity also here down to 0. So now let's see what we've got. Yeah, doesn't sound anything like we heard. But we're not done yet. So you have to make sure that this is routed properly. So you want to turn this hour on so it goes into the amp. And now we're going to work on the amp filter, or the amp envelope, sorry. Oof. You're going to want to put the attack all the way up to 29 seconds. Yeah, 29.8 milliseconds, sorry. Put the decay up, sustain all the way up also, and the release to about 23.5 is good. Okay, now the mod envelope. This doesn't really change a lot, but like I said, you can mess around with all this other stuff later, and you can use the mod envelope to your advantage. But you want to turn this tempo sync on, the delay 0, the attack 0, since tempo is on, decay goes to 1/32, and you can leave the mod envelope release there. Let's see, chorus, yeah. So this will just widen the sound up a little more. The feedback is already on 0, so keep it like that. You just want to turn the dry wet down to about 28, 30-ish. Actually, 28 is fine. So now, let's hear what we have. Yeah, doesn't really sound like anything. So, we're going to move on, though. This will help it a lot more. Programming always helps. Oscillator 3 is your source. Your destination, go to oscillator 1's frequency. Put the amount up to 14. Weird number, right? But it helps, I swear. Let's see. There you go. As opposed to what we heard before. Yeah. That sounds a little bit better. But we're not done yet. Over here, this is like more steps for a programmer, but let's see. We're going to put the mod envelope as the source. Put the amount up to -100. Oscillator 1's pitch as the destination. Put the amount, oh, sorry. Put the amount up to 100. Let me clear that. And oscillator's 3 pitch goes over here. Also put the amount up to 100. And you can change this to rotary 1. Now the whole reason why I did this is because of the next steps that I'm going to show you. It's kind of a cool way to look at to see how the notes that you're hitting affect the frequency spectrum. And this is a trick, exactly what Bombs and Bottles taught me. Pretty cool stuff. Check out his stuff. You know, all of his videos, really good. And all that. So yeah, so let's open up a Spider Audio CV. No, Spider Audio Merger and Splitter. And we're going to hit the tab button. And as you can see, there's nothing plugged in here. Not yet. But let's open up a digital vocoder. So all this automatically plugs in with Reason, but we don't really actually want to do that. We are going to move what's already in the inputs for the vocoder into the splitter. Next, we're going to take these, move them into the carrier input, and the modular, or the modulator input as well, goes over in this channel. So now, if we did this correctly, we should get nothing, which is good for now. But let's keep going. I promise this makes more sense later. You're going to open up Screen 4 distortion unit, and it should be routed for you. Except you're going to take the outputs now and just bring them over to the from device over here. Now we get sound. But also, a cool thing is, as you can see before, we actually get a visual representation of what our sound looks like within the frequency spectrum. So, if we turn all the way up the bandwidth, or the bands here that are given to us, look at that. Isn't that nice? Actually helps out a lot later when you're trying to like fine-tune your stuff. But let's continue. So with Scream 4, you're going to want to set this type to, tube. And you're going to want to put parameter 1 as 62, that's good. And parameter 2 at around like 50, 51 if you can get it. Won't make that much of a difference really, but yeah, okay. So for the cut, which is just an EQ for the distortion, put the low up to 10-ish, 11, 10, there you go. Take the mids down to -7 and put the highs up to 20. Not that much going on. This should help. Resonance. Put this all the way up to 79. Oh, sorry. That's good. The scale should go just to the top, like 127, but not all the way there. 123 is cool. And auto. I don't know why they call it auto. I don't really see you know exactly what this does, but it does change the sound. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, but in this case, it's going to be about set to 40. 41 is fine. And change the body type to B, and we can leave the master. But let's see what we got. Okay, so we're getting there. You know, we're about halfway. Next, we're going to create another vocoder, but we're not actually going to use this as a vocoder. We're going to use this as an EQ. Keep it at 16 bands. And this is kind of hard because you don't really have, I can't give you numbers to actually follow with this. As you can see, kind of just goes up and down. But I'll give you the pattern, which is pretty much, you know, on point. It should kind of go something like this. Let me see. Yeah, basically we just wanted to cut out certain parts that are in between, like the lows and the mids and the highs. And yeah, this doesn't sound like much now, but if we turn the shift up, this should help bring it out more. And I'd say about like 18 should do it. Yeah, once again, this is a little bit harder to do because I don't have any numbers to give you. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's got to be in the same area as where my original one is. So, yeah, just follow that pattern. I'm sorry, that's just how Reason works. But yeah, that's acting as an EQ, and this whole next 3 or 4 steps are really just going to be EQs. That's kind of how I work. It's a little bit different than I'm sure how you're traditionally taught, but I, you know, just kind of fucked around with this for a couple hours. So with an M-class EQ, you're going to want to turn on the low cut and parameter 1, and you're going to set the frequency to 58.6. Let me see here. The shift key always helps. And then you're gonna put the gain down just a little bit. It really should not go like too much at all. You know, even hitting like a decibel less is kind of cutting it a little bit, but not a lot of difference there. Unless we do this, you turn the Q up to 15.7. That's what I have. Now parameter 2. Put the frequency to 3.487 kilohertz. There we go. Put the gain up. 8.9, 9.1. You know, that's pretty good. And we're going to turn down this to 1.9. Okay. So that's EQ1. EQ2. Put on the low shelf. You can leave the frequency like that. You kind of just want to move the gain up. I'd say, yeah, 3.4 should do it. Yeah, that's pretty much it with low shelf. Parameter 1, you're going to put the frequency to 447.8 hertz. There you go. I'd put this up to about like 8.3 decibels. 8's fine. Actually, you know what? Let's just put it on more. There we go. And move this to 11. 11.7 is fine. Parameter 2, you're going to move this to 18.10 kilohertz. There, just barely at the end. You're going to bring this gain up to 10.3. Actually, 10.9 is good. And set the Q to 5.3. 5.4 is fine. We have to split hairs here. Let's see. Sounds alright. And now another EQ. Put the low shelf on. You can leave the frequency like we did before. You can put the gain up to 5.7. No, it's 5.4. And put the Q to 6.2. No, 0.62. Sorry, 0.61 is fine. It's all good. Parameter 1, frequency 407.8 hertz. So that's pretty much what we're looking for. Just want to move this slightly. Yeah, just about like a decibel, you know. I mean, little stuff like this, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Like, you have the basic sound already. You're just trying to fine-tune it, trying to pick out certain frequencies that kind of stand out and really give it the desired sound. But at the end of the day, if you guys are getting in the same area, it's not going to make that much of a difference. I always recommend, though, just spending a little bit of time with these EQs and trying to figure out, you know, what sounds good, what doesn't sound good, and why, really, because trial and error, like, just helps so much with this type of stuff, especially when you don't have any prior education to it, like me. But anyway, EQ3, back to that, parameter 1, this needs to go to like 25, 24, yeah, 25. Actually, it can go a little bit higher. Let's see, parameter 2, 4.204 hertz. 402. Sorry, I don't even know what I said. Yeah, 4.204 kilohertz. There we go. And we're going to bring this up to 5.7 decibels, and you can put the Q to 1. Alright, and the high shelf. Just want to move the gain up a little bit just to bring out more of that high ends, and we'll just say adjust the Q to about 1.2. Yeah, that's good. 1.21. Yeah. Okay. Almost there. Let's see. You're going to want to open up an M-class compressor, and you're going to want to bring the input gain to about 5.2 decibels is good. Put the threshold to negative 9.9, and the ratio to 2.58 to 1. Put the attack to 62 milliseconds. 61 is fine. Put the release to 14 maybe. Yeah. And you can bring the output up just like a couple decibels, you know, beef it up a little more. Just always be careful when you're messing around with compressors. Sometimes they can really muddy up your sound. And finally, last but not least, just a little bit of reverb, just to kind of give it a little more presence. But you can adjust this later on, obviously, when you have more shit going on with it. But put the size down to like negative 40, I'd say. The decay should be up at around 6 is good. You want to take the damp and you just want to put it all the way down, because it gives you a really bad metallic sound if you don't do that. And the dry and the wet, literally also all the way down. I'd say stick with 2, 4, you know, go up even a little more if you want to be risky, but with this type of stuff, you don't want it to really muddy up the rest of your mix. So let's see what we got now. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I mean, most people don't even step with, you know, or even try to mess around with these really low notes, but that's like a Jay Fay type of thing. So, yeah, that's using like bounce and probably like Baby I Love You, his remix of that. And then, once again, like high notes. So yeah, you have like a pretty good opportunity to use this as a lead, you know, whether it's high, whether it's mid, you know, or even just like a really deep bass as well. Like, sidechain this to a kick, and I'm sure you're gonna really enjoy it at like 128 BPM. So that's pretty much it. As always, comments, feedbacks, likes, dislikes, tell me if you think I should change something, if you can do it better, send me a response video. I'm always open to that type of stuff. Like I said, I initially, you know, messed around with another bass that I got from a YouTube tutorial, and I would be so happy if somebody else found another sound and, you know, shared it with me using this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I would also like appreciate any types of, you know, subscriptions as well, and if you could follow me on Twitter, I'll probably put that handle down there in the description box. But that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, take care.